My name's Angelo, and welcome to We Want Picks. I'm going to break down the entire UFC Paris fight card, giving you my picks, predictions, and bets. But before I do, let's talk about UFC Singapore. So other than it starting at an ungodly hour for us Americans, it actually was a very good card that delivered. We did have some success. My bets did hit. Thank God for that Ryan Spann, Anthony Smith over 1.5 bet. Jacob hit another lock of the week. He had Billy Goff at plus 140. I had him as well, but once he's the official lock of the week, that matters much, much more. And overall, his lock of the week has been crushing it. He hit 5 of the last 6. The overall ROI is 34%, and all time he's up 25 units. If you don't know what the lock of the week is, Jared picks an underdog. So somebody who's literally supposed to lose. He picks an underdog every week, puts him on a board, stands behind him, gets it done. Last week was Sean O'Malley. Last night or this morning was Billy Goff, and they hit. Underdog Fantasy crushed. The safety parlay did miss. We hit 7 of 8, and then we just missed. It all came down. I had a 3-leg safety parlay for plus money. I did a round prop on the Goff fight. I did Nakamura, and then I did over 2.5 on Holloway and Zombie. And it looked like Zombie was going to finish in the second. Dude survived. He's a zombie, right? I literally bet the over on 2 of the toughest, durable guys in the division. And then Zombie, basically, it's like somebody told him in the corner, hey, F the safety parlay. F it up. Go out there, swing like a lunatic with your chin in the air. F the safety parlay. And yeah, what was I? A minute and a half, 2 minutes away from another safety parlay hitting. So that sucks, but we will get this train moving. That safety parlay continues to hit at 69% and is still a massive success. We weren't the only ones who did well, or well-ish. Our community crushed yet again. Our premium members put up $66,000 worth of winning tickets. $66,000. These tickets, as always, are only from premium members. They have reached out, they have shared, they have thanked, and they have done well. $, forgive the names here. $, says first night of joining premium, and I'm already in the green, and he had a whole slew of winning bets. Jaro, look at all of those bets he hit. Wear Blue said, I bought premium last night. I immediately made my money back this morning. Squirts crushed. Squirts hit a $37,000 DraftKings play, and I said, are you a premium member? Because I will not share these tickets if you're not. And he said, yes, of course I am. Everybody crushed. Our premium members did incredibly well. A couple of landmines, right? I would say the only real landmine that we were on that didn't come to fruition was Rolando Bedoya. That was a frustrating one. Other than that, for the most part, the analysis was solid, the picks were solid, and then it just came down to making sure you got the right bets. And again, our community, our premium members, the people who pay $10 a month, did pick the right bets. They absolutely put some real numbers on the board. Join them. It is only $10 a month. Join the Discord. That's free. But to become a premium member, all you need to do is go to WeWantPicks.com, click Become a Member. It's just $10, and it's far more than copy-paste bets. I know everybody just wants to list the bets, and they want to copy it, they want to paste it, and then they want their mortgage to be paid. But the reality is, not only do we put our bets on the board, our picks on the board, we also give you tools. Teach a man to fish. Some of those tools are DraftKings ownership projections. We have the literal best DraftKings ownership projections in the game. We crushed UFC Singapore at 3.41% margin of error. You've heard me say this before. That beats Awesemo. That beats Roto Grinders. That beats all of these giant companies whose only job is to nail fantasy projections. And we beat them. We did the exact same thing for FanDuel. A lot of you don't do FanDuel, but we do. We're putting out that content. We're giving that information, and we absolutely crush the FanDuel ownership as well. That $10 includes a line movement tracker. This is going to give you opening odds, current odds, win probability, and line movement for every single fight on the card. UFC Paris, this card, 2 fighters, not in the same fight, 2 different fighters, open as favorites and will close as dogs. 8 fighters on this card had 20% movement or more on their line. You're also going to get a DraftKings optimizer. This will quite literally build DraftKings lineups for you. This will build lineups for you. You click a few buttons and it'll spit out 150 lineups. It'll spit out one lineup, whatever you want it to do. You're also going to get detailed data, metrics, and analytics. The theme here is value. This is the greatest value in this space. You're going to get tools. You're going to get information. You're going to get data. You're going to get picks. You're going to get bets. You're going to get analysis. You're going to get ownership. You're going to get everything you could ever need or want to make some money and have some fun watching these fights. Guys, let me give you $50. I pay out thousands of dollars every single week to anybody. You don't need to be a premium member. You don't need to be a subscriber. You don't even have to love this beautiful face and this angelic voice. All you need to do is go to WeWantPicks.com/bets. Use my link to sign up with any one of our betting partners. Make a deposit, and I send you $50 as a thank you. It's affiliate marketing, right? They're going to pay me. You're going to use the link. You're going to make an account. Then they're going to pay me. And then I'm going to take some of that money and I'm going to give it right back to you because it genuinely, we're nothing without you. And I'd rather make a little bit less money, take care of you, than, hold on to all of it and be selfish about it. WeWantPicks.com/bets. Use the link, sign up, make a deposit. I'll send you $50. And now we have a P.O. box. We had a bunch of people over the last couple of months. Hey, I want to mail you this. I want to mail you that. And I've been avoiding it because I don't need you creeps to know where I live and my daughters live, or my wife, so you guys can creep through the window, catch a glimpse. No. So we got a P.O. box. This is the address. You want to send something, send it. We'll open it on the Fight Foods vlogs. Just, nothing alive, please, I guess, or anthraxy. But yes, that's the address if you do want to mail something. Let's go ahead and break down this card. I am going to apologize in advance, right? Last week, the theme was Angelo has a lisp. Angelo gets a little tongue-tied. Well, the names on this card aren't doing me any favors, right? These ones aren't so bad. I'll get through these. There are some names on this card that I might just say the person on the left and the person on the right. I don't know how I'm going to get through some of these names. I promise you, I watch the tape. I listen to the announcers say it, and then I sit in front of this camera, in front of these graphics, in front of my notes, and I say God knows what. Let's go ahead and break down this card. Opening up UFC Paris, we have Zarah Fairn taking on Jacqueline Cavalcanti. Zarah Fairn is a technical striker. Her takedowns are mediocre. Her takedown defense is also mediocre. And she basically has no ground game whatsoever. She is 0-3 in the UFC, but her debut was against Megan Anderson. And her next two fights were against Felicia Spencer and Joselyne Nunes. She's certainly better than that record, but time is catching up to her. She's almost 40 years old. And I mentioned she fought Joselyne Nunes. She's coming off that loss, but honestly, you watch that fight and you're like, wow, her striking is very good. She's a decent fighter, but she's a little too old, a little too tired, a little too slow. She's taking on Jacqueline Cavalcanti. She's a rangy striker. She uses footwork and feints to manage that range. She does a good job working your legs early to slow you down and then working up to your head. She keeps her striking technical, and when she finds a rhythm, she's going to work forward. She's going to pressure. She'll even look for the occasional takedown. She's definitely a striker, but she is not going to shy away from cage control, trips, or even a little bit of ground and pound. And you know what? If this was a few years ago, I actually would have picked Fairn here. Her striking is very technical, and she can hang with some of the best strikers around when she's young and has gas and, isn't a little tired, if you will. And while Jacqueline can grapple, it's not very high level. It's not really her go-to, but based on how tired Fairn got in that last fight and the fact that she's pushing 40, this is going to be a very clear spot for Jacqueline. She can win this fight by pushing a pace. She can win the fight by staying in Zarah's face. And even if Zarah has some early success, she will fade as the fight goes on. But Jacqueline's going to be the pick, but this is not going to be the first fight where something strange happened with a UFC debut. And we have 12 fights on this card. That means there's 24 fighters. I forget the exact number, but it's like 12 or 13 of those fighters are brand new UFC debuts. So I had to watch an insane amount of tape to break down all of these fights, and I recommend you do some of the same as well because there's some wild odds on a couple of UFC debuts in a couple of these fights that we definitely want to make sure we're on the right side of. Did you notice that jump cut, right? It wasn't a smooth transition. The camera went boop, boop, and now there's a new graphic on the screen. Yeah, that's because the wife and the kids went to the pet store, and now everybody's crying that they want a guinea pig. I don't want a guinea pig. We're not going to get a guinea pig, but I'm now the bad guy who said no. But mommy said if you say yes, not happening. Not happening. A rat, like a giant rat hamster, like absolutely not. I'd rather break down this fight. We got Farid Basharat taking on Kleydson Rodrigues. Farid Basharat is a well-rounded wrestler. He's got solid striking, very loose stance. He's going to bounce on his toes. He's going to throw a ton of kicks. He's very mobile, and he's constantly working from side to side. He does have that wide taekwondo stance, and that can make him a bit hittable at times, but for the most part, he's going to move well, and he is pretty defensively sound. He is a beast wrestler that will time his takedowns perfectly, and many times he's just going to use them or use that wrestling to keep fights standing. I'm going to say Chuck Liddell style. He fights nothing like Chuck Liddell. But if you're an old school fan, you remember Chuck Liddell was a Division I wrestler who didn't shoot any takedowns. He used that wrestling ability to keep it on his feet. And Farid does the same thing. He'll the occasional takedown, but most of the time that wrestling is there to make sure fights stay standing. He is coming off that win over Damon Blackshear where he did have nice low kicks, solid takedowns. So he did use his offensive takedowns in that fight, but he seemed to struggle a little bit with Damon's pressure. He's taking on Kleydson Rodrigues. This kid's a well-rounded prospect. He's got a lot of potential. He's got a very versatile striking style where he mixes in kicks really well. He has power in his hands, but he does throw a lot of those punches from his hips, so they're a little bit telegraphed. His takedown defense can definitely use some work, but his takedown offense is solid. He's got some trips, he's got some nice clinch work, and he almost has that Greco-Roman wrestling style. When he's on top, he does a great job of establishing positions and then striking from there. He's coming off that first round knockout win over Shannon Ross back in February. This should be a great fight. Honestly, these betting lines should be a lot closer than they are. That's going to be a theme in this breakdown. I feel like a lot of these fights have 2-1 or even 3-1 favorites that shouldn't be. In this case, Farid is almost a 3-1 favorite. And I get it. The obvious narrative is that Kleydson can be taken down and Farid has great takedowns. But Farid didn't seem to like that pressure from Damon Blackshear. And Kleydson is all pressure. And I do think Farid's going to win this fight because he's the more technically sound fighter. But if Kleydson wants to brawl the boxer, he can definitely win this fight. Low confidence pick for Farid. He's going to be the pick, but 3-1, I'm staying away from that. I said brawl the boxer. That's like an old adage that some of you probably know, but some of you may not. So if you have a really technical fighter and a not technical fighter, it really comes down to who implements their game plan. If you're the technical striker, you want to keep it technical. You want to stay on the outside. You want to use the right shots, in and out, use your footwork, do everything clean. If you're not the more technical striker, you want to brawl. So you brawl the boxer or you box the brawler. In this case, if Kleydson Rodrigues is going to brawl the boxer, he's not literally a boxer, but that's the saying, and he can keep it ugly and he can get Farid backing up, Kleydson can have some success. So Rolando Bedoya screwed a lot of people. That might be Farid Basharat on this card. Then we have, listen, the names, okay? This isn't a lisp. This isn't Angelo has a lisp. This is, look at this freaking name that Angelo has to say. We have Morgan Charriere taking on Manolo Zecchini. That one I should know. Anyway, Morgan Charriere is an explosive striker who is light on his feet and he stalks his opponents before leaping into those punches and working control. He does a very good job of being like all the way in or all the way out of range. When he's in, he likes to tie up so he can work in knees. He can control. When he's out, he will stalk you and he'll leap into his punches. He's got solid takedown defense and a few takedowns of his own that he really is only going to use in scrambles and things like that. He's a dangerous and tough guy, but he does have the occasional fight IQ hiccup. Manolo Zecchini is a fast and powerful striker who has great speed, and he's going to send both his left and his right with 100% power. He's a ton of fun to watch because he's always looking for a finish, but he's overextended on his strikes, and he can get taken down because of it. He isn't a grappler by trade, but like, you know, pretty much everybody. He's got enough BJJ to avoid being submitted in most of these situations. He's got a solid get-up game and decent scramble skills, but he can tire as the fight goes on and then be out-grappled. This should be an explosive fight. This should be a lot of fun with a ton of action. Both of these guys throw with intent. Both of them are primarily strikers. There will likely be a lot of cage clinching, though, and I expect it to be similar to like boxing, right? In boxing, somebody's going to come in, they'll throw a quick combination, everybody's tied up. In boxing, the referee separates you. In MMA, they don't. But I actually do think, even though we have two primary strikers, if you watch the tape and you watch their fights, a lot of times somebody's going to come in, they throw 2 strikes and they tie up. A couple strikes and now I'm tied up. Morgan likes that clinch work a little bit better than Manolo does. So, I think Manolo is going to have more raw power. He does tend to loop his punches. Morgan should be able to literally beat Manolo to the punch and steal the win. Morgan should have the cardio advantage as well, so he's going to be the pick. But minus 260 on a UFC debut fight seems foolish. It's the same thing. Every week, you guys run off and you bet Dana White Contender Series. And every week, you guys will lay money out on a 3-1 favorite, 4-1 favorite. And then every week, one of them inevitably loses because Dana White Contender Series is basically just regional fighters. And everybody throws a temper tantrum. This is ridiculous. I can't believe what a mess. Oh, Contender Series, blah, blah, blah. This is the same thing. Yes, it is on an actual UFC card, not Contender Series. But we basically have a regional fight. These guys have a ton of experience. They should be a little more established. But a lot of the people on this card are UFC debuts with hollow records or small records. This is not the card to just throw a ton of money at everything. I do have a couple of bets. I got a nice little parlay. We got a couple of things going. My personal opinion, I recommend taking it easy because right after this card, we have UFC 293. There's some easier spots. So again, I think Morgan can win this fight. I think he's going to win this fight. I'm not laying out minus 260 on that. Just not going to happen. Then we have Taylor Lapilus taking on Muin Gafurov. Taylor Lapilus is a fantastic kickboxer. He's got incredible footwork. He does a really good job working in and out of range. He comes in for his attacks. He'll throw his combinations and strikes, and then he'll work his way back out. By the time his opponents throw their own strikes, he's gone. He's out of that pocket. And taking him down is definitely a path to victory, but it's not going to be the easiest thing to do. He does defend shots pretty well because what he does is he defends the shot. He'll stuff the head. He'll widen his base. He's not just going to do the little pitter-patter strikes thinking that's doing anything when it isn't. He will actually defend the takedown the right way. Many may not realize this, but this is Taylor's second stint in the UFC. All the way back in 2015 and 2016, he went 3-1 in the UFC before leaving, and that was about 5 years ago. He's taking on Muin Gafurov. This guy's a savage. We just broke him down a couple of weeks ago, maybe a month ago at this point. He's a wrestler. He's going to plant his feet. He's going to trade punch for punch with anyone. He is incredibly exciting, incredibly high-paced, and he's got solid skills everywhere. He has power in his hands, solid wrestling, solid speed, solid cardio, but he does get sucked in the brawls, and he'll just lose complete control of those situations. He's going to swing wild, and then at that point, it's just a 50-50 fight if he's going to get dropped or if he's going to drop his opponent. He's coming off that loss to John Castaneda. Actually, this was more than... I was on vacation that week, so this was a long time ago, maybe 3 months, something like that, beginning of the summer. He's coming off that loss to John Castaneda. Muin was supposed to be the more accomplished wrestler. And he is literally the more accomplished wrestler, but he went 0 for 6 on takedown attempts. He did throw fast. He threw heavy. He was always moving forward. He was always trying to get a takedown. He just couldn't get one. This is another fight where I think the odds are a little too far. Taylor should be the favorite here, right? Because his striking is so clean. But if Muin pressures forward, if he has that same wrestle-first energy that he did against Sexy Mexy, he could absolutely win this fight. Sexy Mexy, the guy who just beat Muin, has college wrestling experience. He's got good high-level wrestling experience. Taylor does not. And I feel like an idiot even saying this because I was very wrong last time when I picked Muin. But I think Muin can actually win this fight. I know for a fact that he's going to march forward, throw bombs, and attack takedowns. I'm going to wait for prop bets to drop to see if I actually place a bet on this fight. But for now, I do have a slight lean towards Muin. And again, the reason is I know I can trust him to just march forward and work. We just watched future champion Erin Blanchfield beat Taila Santos the same way. Erin Blanchfield has shit striking. It was terrible. Don't tell me otherwise. She has shit takedowns. She went, 0 for 16? Her takedowns were garbage. But she won that fight with forward pressure, with grit. She stayed in Tyler's face. And Erin Blanchfield, you know, Jacob thinks she absolutely sucks. I definitely think she was exposed a bit, that she's not a good striker. She's not a good wrestler. But she is tough as hell, and she will come forward, and you cannot break her. Muin's got that same energy. Striking's not great. His wrestling actually is good. So if he's going to come forward, I can trust him to push forward. I can trust him to march forward. I can trust him to stay in Taylor's face. Then I think he can get the win. And let's not forget that loss to Sexy Mexy. I believe that was a short notice step up. So like I said, very slight lean towards Muin here to get the win. I'm not betting on this until I see all of the prop bets drop. I'm filming this earlier than usual. It is Saturday afternoon because UFC ended like 5 hours ago. So we're going to have to wait probably a little bit. Maybe Monday, Tuesday, those props will drop. If you are a premium member, make sure your Discord is linked. Because then when I hit the prop bets or Jacob hits the prop bets or the round line leans or whatever it is, you'll get an alert to your phone. And if you like it, great, you tail. If you don't, then you won't. But at least you'll get it before the lines take off. If you're not a premium member, WeWantPicks.com, click become a member. It's freaking $10. $10, and we're giving you the world. If you are a premium member, you go to your account page, you click the link Discord button, and that's it. You are good to go. Then we have Ange Loosa taking on Rhys McKee. Ange Loosa is a durable striker. He's got decent volume, solid power, an incredible chin. He pumps his jab like crazy. He throws nice low kicks, and he uses them to manage range and keeps his opponents backing up. He can have a little trouble when you come at him, though, and if you pressure forward, but his volume of more than 6 significant strikes landed per minute do a good job of keeping people away. As you're coming in, as you're trying to back him up, he's just pup, and he's getting that up there. He has a 100% takedown defense. He uses offensive takedowns well. He is coming off his first UFC win over AJ Fletcher, where he doubled AJ's strikes and he had 2 takedowns of his own. He's taking on Rhys McKee. This kid is a long striker who's had a rough stretch in the UFC. He made his UFC debut against Khamzat Chimaev. He landed literally zero strikes before being submitted. Then he lost a decision to Alex Morono where he was taken down 3 times. And now he's coming back after 3 years away from the UFC to fight somebody as tough as Ange Loosa. Style-wise, Rhys is a rangy striker. He does have accuracy. He does have speed. He does have some power. He does a great job of piecing people apart from the outside and then rushing in when he has his openings. He avoids grappling well, but if you can close the distance, you can take him down. And this has to be an Ange Loosa pick. He's a durable guy. He's got speed, power, wrestling. Rhys is definitely technical and dangerous, but the wrestling defense is a problem. And after seeing Ange out-wrestle AJ Fletcher, who's a good wrestler, I'm confident that he can do the same here. Not to mention he's going to be faster, he's going to be more powerful, and he's going to be probably the better striker as well. So Ange is the pick. I do have a nice little parlay with him at plus 135, and I'll tell you that parlay when we get to the other leg. Then we have Nora Cornolle. That's definitely not how you say that. Taking on Joselyne Edwards. Nora Cornolle is a violent striker. She has power. She has aggression. She does a great job using all of her tools. She's going to elbow you when you're against the cage. She's going to knee you when you're in the clinch. She's going to punch and kick you when she's at range. And she's going to do everything that she can to KO or TKO. She doesn't look to wrestle often, but when she's on the ground, she's got solid BJJ, and she will take risks chasing submissions. I love her aggression, but I absolutely hate her decision-making. She'll have full mount and then bail on it to chase a submission that she doesn't need. Like, you're in complete control. You're raining down punches. Why the hell are you chasing an armbar right now? And it's not just one fight. There's more than one fight where I've seen her give up positions like that to chase. She's taking on Joselyne Edwards. Joselyne is a very good kickboxer who uses range well. She has a nice variety of strikes, but she does prefer to kick. If you can get inside and make it a dirty fight, you can probably break her, but getting inside is not the easiest thing to do. She's on a 3-fight win streak, with the most recent one being a contested win over UFC newcomer Lucy Pudilova, where her striking and distance control were actually very solid. But it was clear that Joselyne Edwards has no takedown defense, and she doesn't know what to do on the ground. Joselyne just beat a UFC debut prospect that a lot of people were confident in. And I think the bookies are worried about that again, because right now Joselyne is the minus 130 favorite. And those odds are probably correct, given that she's a proven UFC fighter at this point. She has 1 fight in the UFC. Nora obviously has not. Joselyne Edwards has more than twice the number of fights that Nora does. But I do think Nora wins this fight. Joselyne does well when you let her dictate the range. And there's no way that Nora's going to do that. Nora's going to come forward, be aggressive, and if she's smart, she's going to work in a takedown. I think Nora can get the win. I like her as an underdog here, with the only real concern being cardio, because she's only ever seen the 3rd round 1 time, and that wasn't a loss. We only have a 7-fight sample size for Nora, but I do think she can absolutely get this done, and I think she's a great underdog for this card. Then we have Volkan Oezdemir taking on Bogdan Guskov. Volkan Oezdemir is a forward pressure striker. He's got legit power, very good volume as well. He throws his hands hard and he throws them often. Volkan has a miserable takedown accuracy of only 28%, and that can be an issue because if he's losing the striking exchanges, his chin is not going to keep him in that fight, and then he doesn't have the wrestling to get out of that losing striking exchange. He is 6-6 in the UFC, and he's had a mixed bag of competition, but one thing is for sure, and then it's that all of his losses are quality. He's lost to Jiri, Daniel Cormier, and Ankalaev. In his 6 losses, he fought 2 champions and 3 title challengers. He's taken on Bogdan Guskov, one of 97 fighters on this card making their UFC debut. Bogdan is a heavy-handed guy. He likes to come forward, he wants to throw big, and he wants to mix things up. When he's striking, he can be fast, and he can have some very real power. He keeps his hands low, but he's got decent footwork and nice combinations. If he doesn't get the knockout early or have enough success striking, that's why enough success. That's why people think I have a freaking lisp. If he doesn't knock you out early, or if he's not having enough success striking, he's going to work you to the cage and he's going to try to get a takedown. On top, he has incredible patience and control. He's going to ride you out while striking, but not get overly aggressive. Everything he does hurts, and he is definitely a dangerous guy. This is an insanely tough fight to pick because I'm going off film only, right? And if I'm only looking at film and I'm not factoring in the record, I'm not factoring in the level of competition, I'm just looking at skills inside of a cage in a fist fight, then I got to go with Bogdan. He's the more dangerous guy. He's well-rounded. He's a scary dude. But then once I do factor in the level of competition and I factor in the overall experience at a high level, it is hard to think that a guy who has never fought any name that any of us would ever remotely recognize is going to beat Volkan. Because Volkan has fought no less than 8 top 10 fighters in the world at one point or another in their career. So it's very tricky to say, well, this UFC newcomer who's fought a whole bunch of nobodies is going to beat him. It's hard for me to do that, but I'm about to do it. I am going to lean danger. I am going to pick the more dangerous guy. Volkan not having a chin only helps me out here. So I do think Bogdan Guskov is going to get it done. Let's hope we get a 2.5 round line so we can hammer the under. If we get a 1.5, I don't know. But if we get a 2.5, we're going to hit the under. If you're a premium member, link the Discord. Go to your account page, click link Discord. And the reason you want to do that is for the alerts. Everything in Discord is on the website. Every week people are saying, how do I say? Everything's on the website, but the Discord gives you the ability to get alerts to your phone the very second that we do anything. If you're not a premium member, become one. Just go to WeWantPicks.com, click Become a Member. As soon as you sign up, it's only $10 a month. You will instantly have access to all of our picks, all of our bets, all the tools, the information, the data. All of that is available instantly on the website. So WeWantPicks.com, click Become a Member, then go to your account page and link your Discord. Bogdan Guskov is the pick, and we're waiting for those round props so that we can go ahead and hit the under on a 2.5. Then we have Yanis Gamori taking on a Cavalcanti. Huh? I mean, it wasn't right, but it wasn't that bad. Yanis Gamori is a striker, a very, very patient striker with fantastic leg kicks. He likes to own the center. He wants to figure out the range, and then he's going to work his opponent's legs. Once he gauges that range, he starts to commit to strikes, and then he adds power into that cycle. He's going to work in takedowns, but it's mostly reactionary. And when he gets the takedowns, he's looking for control. He wants to slow it down. He wants to hang out. He wants to ride that out. He's not the most dangerous guy, but he's patient, technical, and has solid fight IQ. Cavalcanti is a powerful guy who's got a wide base, and he uses that to send kicks and generate power. He does have a ton of power in his hands, and he tends to throw everything as hard as he can. He has a solid takedown defense and really nice takedowns himself, but he does leave himself open because his stance is wide as hell. It's wide, and then he's hesitant, and that keeps him stationary. If you watch his fights, there's not a lot of foot movement. He's just there. He's big. He's wide. He is explosive. He's waiting, but his feet aren't moving as much as they probably should be. A busy striker with good footwork or a solid wrestler can get to him, and he can have some real trouble. But luckily for him, he hasn't faced a fighter like that, and I don't think that's what he's going to get here. He's getting a lot of opponents that are willing to stay on the outside and let him play that game. This is another really tough fight to pick with interesting odds, right? That's a theme here. And frankly, we get 2 UFC debuts, and they listed one of them 3-1 favorite in this fight. Loughran is a 3-1 favorite. He has 8 fights, and his feet barely move. I am surprised he's a 3-1 favorite. I genuinely am shocked. He literally stands there waiting. Yes, he's powerful. He's very dangerous, but he will not move at all. He will just stand there waiting for you. And in the past, guys are going to come in and he'll tag him. He's got that power. Others will throw lazy kicks. He'll catch the kick and he'll just sprint right through it, which I love to see. But at this level, in the UFC, I don't know how standing heavy on your feet is going to work out for him. Giannis does have nice leg kicks. Loughran wants to wait in the center. Giannis could light those legs up. And this fight ultimately could end up being the worst fight on this entire card. Both of these guys are very patient. They could just end up in a staring contest. I do give the power and wrestling edge to Loughran, but the technique and fight IQ to Giannis, I don't want to make a pick here, but if I have to make a pick, I am going to go Loughran literally because of the explosiveness. Watching him shoot takedowns is impressive. I mean, he's got he doesn't wrestle anything like Jordan Burroughs. His wrestling is not nearly as good. But he's got that Jordan Burroughs style where he will grab something and just full sprint right through it. And that is the only reason I'm going to pick him here, because I got to be honest, I'm watching the tape and I'm like, this guy is the 3-1 favorite? This makes no sense to me. And I'm not saying he sucks, but Giannis is also very good. So to say that if he's 3 times more likely to win this fight, it's just a little shocking. So I'm going to avoid betting on this fight especially, but I'll do the slight pick lean to Colin Loughran. That's definitely not how you say it. Then we have the most surprising line on this card. I just trashed the betting line in the last fight. This is the most surprising line, and I bet it. Let's go ahead and talk about it. We got Benoit Saint-Denis taking on Thiago Moises. Benoit Saint-Denis is a very good wrestler with really well-timed shots and a ton of pressure on top. He's got good old-fashioned lower your level and attack the leg style wrestling, and that's very effective for him. He has 4 fights in the UFC with 8 takedowns total, which is incredible considering he has only seen the 3rd round once. When he gets it to the ground, he has very good pressure and works to submissions well. He's got a ton of power in his feet, which he brings with him to the ground, but he can be hittable. He does have a negative striking differential of 4-6. He's coming off that submission win over Ismael Bonfim, where he quickly put together a highlight reel of people like me on YouTube picking against him. So Benoit really loved tweeting a video of me picking Ismael in that fight. In fairness to me, I went on and on about how good Benoit is, and I did the slight lean for Ismael, but hey, he smoked that dude and he earned that win, and now he's taking on Thiago Moises. This guy's a slick grappler. He does a great job of staying dangerous while being composed, meaning he's maintaining positions, but he's still working towards a submission. Even though he is primarily a grappler and he averages more than 1 takedown per fight, he does have technical striking and he can hang with most of these people. He uses solid low kicks to set up those takedowns, and he's coming off back-to-back submission wins. I bet on Benoit last week when he was plus 100. This line was shocking to me. I literally, so you guys know I do the safety parlay. When I do my safety parlays, sometimes I have it out 2 weeks ahead of time. Sometimes I wait because I want to see what the props are, because there's not 2 money line fighters that I love. When I saw the UFC Paris fights and odds, before my eyes could move over to the odds portion of this fight, I saw Benoit Saint-Denis, Thiago Alves. I should put Benoit in the safety parlay. Oh, but man, he might be minus 800. Plus 100? That is, I don't know how. I genuinely don't know how. Benoit has power in his hands, unbelievable wrestling, and frankly, I get it. Thiago's got slick BJJ. We have bet on him in the past, right? Thiago's been very, very generous to our bank accounts in the past, but I just think this is a nightmare matchup. Somebody that can stand there, throw heavy, hit him hard, and out-wrestle the shit out of him. The only thing Benoit has to do is avoid being submitted. Thiago Alves has very good jiu-jitsu, but not off his back. He's not going to be submitting Benoit off his back. I think this is a mauling. I think this is an absolute... Look what Benoit just did to Ismael Bonfim, who has way more power than Thiago on the feet. And jiu-jitsu, yeah, he's a black belt, but there are levels. Thiago's going to be the better jiu-jitsu guy, but... This line is surprising me. Let me know in the comments if I'm crazy here, because frankly, maybe I'm missing something. Who knows, right? I don't know everything. But I got Benoit a full unit at plus 100. That should be minus 250. That line has already moved. He's like now minus 120, minus 130. Even that's a discount. Even that's a discount. And I'm doing this video nice and early for you. I would hit those lines before it starts to move even more. I think Benoit is going to close at close to a 2-1 favorite here. But right now, if you're a premium member, you saw that I got that at plus 100. I saw a few people thanking me in the premium channels in the Discord. Don't thank me until it hits. Just because we beat a line doesn't mean it's going to win. But I am very confident in Benoit. If you're not a premium member, become one now. It's $10 a month. Just go to weonpicks.com, click become a member at the top. Then we have William Gomis taking on Lucas Almeida. William Gomis is a very well-rounded prospect. He's constantly working for a finish in his fights. He can knock you out. He can submit you. He can just straight up outwork you. And it's hard to label him as any one thing because he's genuinely good everywhere. He's got solid Muay Thai striking, very opportunistic grappling, where he's just going to snatch things up in scrambles. The criticism on him in the past, though, is that even though he's so busy, he can be low volume. Like, he's always moving. He's always looking for a finish. But he's not throwing as much as possible. He's throwing hard. He's throwing fast. But you can see here 1.97 significant strikes landed per minute. That's an average of 30 minutes. He has 30 minutes of cage time. 30 minutes inside the octagon. And he's only averaging less than 2 significant strikes landed per minute. He is coming off that win over Francis Marshall, though, where his striking was sharp. He was elusive. His takedown defense mostly held up until that third round where he managed to weasel out of an insanely tough submission attempt. He's taking on Lucas Almeida. This kid's a powerful striker who loves throwing a heavy 1-2. He comes forward, he sets up a big right hand. When he senses blood, he will literally drop his hands and just charge forward, throwing whatever he needs to get that finish. But he is aware enough to know that he is a striker and not a grappler. So if he somehow ends up on top and his opponents start to work, he'll literally just stand up, back away, and reset. His takedown defense is just okay, but it did not hold up in his last fight against Pat Sabatini, where he was taken down twice and then submitted. And this is going to be an interesting fight because I do think Gomis wins. Gomis is going to be the pick. But I wish he had a little more volume because if you look at their fight history, Lucas literally lands 3 times the amount of strikes in his decisions than Gomis does in his. If Lucas comes forward, stays in his face, and throws the volume, he can absolutely win this fight. When Lucas is fighting someone who isn't looking to take him down, he can be very sharp. Just look at what he did to Mike Trezano in that fight. So the question now becomes, do you favor Lucas's offense or Williams' defense in this matchup? Honestly, razor thin, super close. I typically am an offense guy. I typically am like, if you're going to get in somebody's face and you're going to come at them, you could have a lot of success. But Gomis has looked really solid, and he's going to be fighting at home. So Gomis is going to be the pick, but let's say it's a 55-45 lean in that direction. Then we have the co-main event of the evening. We have Manon Fiorot welcoming Rose Namajunas to her new weight class. Manon Fiorot is a nasty striker with killer instinct and very real finishing power. Even when she gets taken down, she has the skills and the fight IQ to work back up to her feet. She likes to fight at range and picks her shots. She has a very impressive striking differential of 7-3, but she's not just the striker. She has takedowns in every single one of her UFC fights, including 2 against Mayra Bueno Silva, 2 against Jennifer Maia, and 1 in her last fight against Caitlin Chikagian, where she actually did need that takedown to clinch the very close win. Taking on Rose Namajunas, the former strawweight champion, who is now moving up in weight to 125 pounds in hopes of reclaiming some gold. Rose is a very good fighter everywhere, and she's definitely the more well-rounded fighter in this matchup. She has excellent striking, very good wrestling, and solid BJJ. Rose has great footwork and deceiving power. She has wins over Joanna Jędrzejczyk, Tisha Torres, Jessica Andrade. She beat Wei Li, who just looked like a killing machine, twice. And as much as I find myself always wanting to pick against Rose and like, oh, my gut is like, she sucks. Like, that is just the first thing that happens inside of me. I can't argue with what Rose has accomplished and her skill set. Moving up in weight, though, is a very bizarre choice. Rose was not very big at 115 pounds, and now she's coming up to 125, and she's fighting one of the bigger, toughest women in that division. I think Manon dominates this fight. I do wish she was a little more affordable. She's minus 190s. That kind of sucks. But Manon's going to have more power, certainly be bigger. And in order for Rose to win this fight, she's going to need to stick and move every second of this fight. But I just don't see how that happens because she's a little bit too low volume. Manon quite literally has landed more strikes in each of her last 5 wins than Rose did. And Rose had 8 extra rounds. If you look at Manon's last 5 fights, 3-round fights, she landed more total strikes in each and every one of those fights than Rose did in 5-round fights. And you can see the striking differential here, 7-3. And I think that's going to be the difference. Rose doesn't have the volume, Manon does. Rose doesn't have the power, Manon does. Rose doesn't have the size, Manon does. I think Manon is just too much here. And if Rose shows up looking anything like she did in her last fight against Carla Esparza or that embarrassing grappling match against Jillian Robertson, she's going to get finished. Manon Rowe, the very confident pick, and I have parlayed her with Ange Loosa for some plus money. And then we have the main event of the evening. This is a weird... I have a feeling you guys are going to hate this take, and it is what it is. We got Cyril Gane taking on Sergey Spivac. Actually, fun drinking game for our Tuesday night stream. If you're new here, I break down this whole card by myself. Jacob, my partner, is going to break down this whole card by himself on Monday. And then on Tuesday, we are live in front of the world breaking down the card together. Let's do a drinking game where every time Jacob says Cyril Gane, which he will do over and over again, we all take a shot. Anyway, we have Cyril Gane taking on Sergey Spivac. Cyril Gane is a technical striker who has high volume and a well-rounded arsenal. We've talked about this time and time again. He has some of the best in and out striking in heavyweight history. His striking differential is an impressive for heavyweight of 5-2, and that just speaks to his footwork and his movement and how good that really is. He also uses his footwork to set up his occasional offensive takedown. He took down Dontel Mays 3 times, Rozenstruik twice, and Ngannou once in that loss. But if we have learned anything from the Ngannou fight and from his last fight with John Jones, it's that Cyril Gane can be out-wrestled. Ngannou took him down 4 times in a decision. And maybe you're going to say, okay, well, Ngannou took him down. He wasn't ready for that. Why would he have thought that was going to happen? Well, John Jones took him down twice. And yes, it's John Jones, but then he submitted him almost immediately. He's taking on Sergey Spivac. This dude's a big heavyweight grappler who's got very good ground and pound with solid takedowns. He has an okay submission game, and he is a capable striker. He does not have the big KO power, but he does have a decent jab and solid volume. His biggest issue, though, is control. The reason he's averaging more than 5 takedowns per 15 minutes is because people are standing up. To get 5, you have to let somebody up 4 times. And of course, like submitting somebody like Derek Lewis in the first round or Augusto Sakai in the second round is very impressive. But it should not take 6 takedowns each. He had to take down both of those men 6 times to get to that. You shouldn't have to do that. So my big concern with Sergey is the control. I am definitely going to, let's oversimplify this breakdown right now. And if you disagree, then obviously go ahead and pick the other side. But we just saw Cyril Gane get ragdolled. And yes, it was John Jones, but the reality is that the only 2 people who have really actually tried to take down Cyril Gane did. Ngannou and John Jones. They both took him down. And those are the only 2 people that actually tried to do it. And while he does have good scramble skills, he doesn't have enough takedown defense to avoid the takedown entirely. I think Spivac can come forward, get his takedowns, and win his fight. Obviously, the concern is going to be cardio, and this isn't going to be his first 5th round fight, but it's definitely going to be the first time that he may be in some deep water here. I do think Spivac can win. I have a half a unit bet on him at plus 145. I think if you wait, you'll actually probably get better odds than that. So, I mean, it's just, in my mind, we just watched Cyril Gane get taken down and submitted. We watched him get taken down over and over again by a guy who never shot a takedown before. Sergey Spivac can do that. I think he will do that. But certainly, this might be the best live bet fight on the card. Because if Sergey shoots a half-ass takedown attempt and gets stuffed, all your money should go on Cyril. Because if he doesn't get a takedown, his face is going to get lit up and that's it. But I do think he'll get the takedown. I do think he wins this fight. And I do have that half a unit bet on him at plus 145. Let me send you $50. And selfishly, I want to send you $50 because I'll make some money as well. If you go to WeWantPicks.com/bets, if you sign up with any one of our betting partners using our links, I will get paid, and then I will take $50 of that money and I will give it right back to you. I'll send it to you, Cash App, PayPal, or Venmo. Very real money from my bank account. This is not like a credit that you got to bet it 38 times. No, real money from my account. WeWantPicks.com/bets. Sign up, make a deposit. I will send you that $50. You can use that $50 to become a premium member. Premium membership is far more than just some copy-paste bets. You're going to get courses. We're going to teach you how to play DraftKings. You're going to get tools like the line movement tracker. You're going to get detailed data, metrics, and analytics. 38 columns of that. You're going to get more than just me and Jakey Boy. You're going to get Artem, who's breaking down PFL, Contender Series, Bellator, and you're going to get the Pick Doctor. And we've got a big reveal, maybe for this card, maybe for the next one, for the next group that is coming into the fold and putting their content for premium members as well. All you need to do is go to WeWantPicks.com, click Become a Member. It's only $10 a month. You will literally never find that value anywhere else in this space on the internet. WeWantPicks.com, click Become a Member.